Small town. Damn, that's you strictly. Small town. Damn, that's you strictly.
But the pressure of an elimination game brings different things. Here comes Tiane looking to level, and he does! A razor off the foot of Jamal Tiane! How about that for a response? The five stripes right back in business. We're level at one.
Stretch, and that's what TRA and Atlanta are looking for.
Sleesh for McCarty, quick release, has Miranchuk. Alexei Miranchuk able to play it across, and the shot, they did it again! It's TNA with a brace in the first half. Chase Stadium is stunned as Atlanta United takes the lead, some 20.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the call Saturday night as Atlanta United toppled Inter Miami to advance to the conference semis. And in a week where the Cowboys turned into a soap opera, we are back to give you the real in sports. I'm your co-host, Small Town EP. Tonight, joined by Wade Julian, live from New York City. And you are now tuned in to your #1 sports talk show on the All Things Sports Network. Brought to you by Small Town Productions, ticker up top. Brought to you by ESPN Bet. June, good to have you. The show yesterday was great. Appreciate you and Kev holding it down. How you doing today, man?
Everything's good, man. Long as we get a show out there, right? That's what we say. But it was a good show, me and Kev. I'm glad to have you back, though. Hopefully everything's going well on your end.
Can't complain, man. A lot to get into as usual. So before we get into the week ahead, let's finish off the week that we just had. Miami traveled to LA last night, and that is the Miami Dolphins played the Los Angeles Rams in a game where everyone was talking about Rams money line. Tua comes out with the shiesty, and they win 23-15. June, I know the Dolphins in second place now are 3-6 though, so it's not looking like that second place in the AFC is going to result in a playoff spot. The Rams 4-5, both these teams under 500. Did you have any takeaways from this game?
Yeah, I think that the Dolphins defense looks really good right now, and for what they have in front of them, it's a long road. It's not an easy road. It's a road that I don't believe is going to be something that they can. I guess the road to the playoffs is what I'm talking about. I don't believe that they're going to be able to achieve that, as you know, this season has kind of gotten away from them. Probably a little too far. Tua Tagovailoa comes back, and they go on Monday Night Football, and Calais Campbell has a great game. The defense, like I said, making plays up front. 4 sacks, 7 QB pressures. I mean, Stafford was looking uncomfortable all night. And aside from that, Cooper Kupp, nice one-handed grab. There wasn't really many big plays or anything that stood out as far as, the Rams offense to me. So, with Tua back, Tyreek Hill finds the end zone again. He's battling an injury, but he was able to still get into the end zone there. Jalen Waddle had a few grabs, and things look like they're going well for them. But like I said, they have a tough task of trying to either win out or not drop more than one or two of these next. What do they got? 7 games here, so I don't know, man. What are we taking away from last night?
I mean, I do agree with you. The Dolphins defense looked good. Uh, I don't really know what to take of this, man. It's Tua making questionable decisions. Everyone saw the near call or the near. I don't want to. I don't even want to put no energy like that. So everyone saw the questionable play he made. You got to be a little smarter than that if you are going to be the $50 million man that you are in Miami. LA looked. I don't even know. Like it looks like they may have peaked last season on the Super Bowl run, and at this point, like, does Cooper Cup even play for LA at this point? Like, I'm not really sure what's going on over there. I can't say that I have any major takeaways. I guess it's kind of cool to see Miami win. They avoid a little slide there, but outside of that, I mean, it's the Dolphins.
So, 2 things. I mean, one, Miami did hold it down for the state of Florida. We were 0-11 up
Facts.
until that point, with FCS, FBS, and NFL teams all lost on Saturday and Sunday. The Dolphins came and saved the day. My second thing, as far as Tua Tagovailoa going to make the tackle, I mean, he threw the pick, right? So, one, you bring up he's the $50 million man, and he is, and so you got to protect that. But at the same time, you're the $50 million man. You make a mistake, you gotta at least finish the play. And I'm not saying all quarterbacks when they throw an interception should be the first guy out there headhunting, like they're the gunner on kick return or anything. But I mean, if we flip that clip in any other way, like Tua kind of just runs out the way or dodges a tackle and the guy gets 10 extra yards, I think we're killing Tua for that as well. So Tua made the right play. He put his shoulder down and he tried to make a tackle, and he made the tackle. I mean, it's football at the end of the day. Unfortunately, some guys get hurt in certain circumstances more than others, which Tua can be looked at in that light. But you still got to go out there and play. You still got to compete. And once you start playing scared or playing, I guess a bit reluctant, that's when things happen and obviously things can happen when you're the most confident and playing fast and carefree as well. But it's like that car accident analogy. Like, when you brace yourself, you get more hurt. You remember Hangover? But he was sorry. You ever seen the movie Due Date?
Yes.
So then they're driving and Buddy's just knocked out and they flip over the highway 3 times and he's all hurt. But then the guy that was drunk just woke up and he's like, "What happened, man?" I'm like, So I think it has a little bit to do with that. I respect Tua for going in there, staying in the paint, not shying away from the contact that he created. I mean, it was an interception, like I said. So just that's my take on that. But just to finalize Monday Night Football, like I said, it was a good win for the Dolphins. They've got an upcoming schedule that looks like Raiders, Patriots, Packers, Jets, Texans, Niners, Browns, Jets. So it's favorable, but it's not all the way easy. I mean, we saw the Patriots upset the Bears, and you call it an upset. We'll talk about the Bears in a second, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Call it an upset or not. Patriots got their 3rd win of the season yesterday. You know what I mean? So they're competing. And then you got a couple more AFC East games. Jets twice down the stretch. And then, Texans will probably be healthy by that time with Nico Collins coming back, and the 49ers, who were able to add to their win column. They'll be on that schedule too. So I don't really want to entertain the Dolphins playoff talk. Like, we could talk about the Colts making the playoffs before the Dolphins. I mean, they're sitting one win ahead of them in the AFC standings at the 8th spot. But neither of those teams should get serious consideration for that conversation.
Speaking of Chicago, let's take it up there. A week or so after Chicago says, "Hey, no change is going to be happening," Our OC is all good. Everybody's safe. Shane Waldron, offensive coordinator in Chicago, is out of a job. They did name their temporary one. Forgot his name. Sorry, pardon me. I
Davis.
apologize. Thank you. They did name Davis as the interim offensive coordinator, but Waldron is out in Chicago. June, my question for you is: Waldron a scapegoat for the troubles that they've been having recently?
I think it's Thomas Jones, actually, if I'm not mistaken. But Waldron, I mean, listen, they got a big problem. They got a big problem in Chicago, and I think Waldron can take some of the blame with him, but by far not the whole issue. Now, as far as how they're handling this, yeah, something had to be shaken up. Someone had to be a scapegoat. Someone had to go. Moves had to be made. You don't want to blow it up in Caleb Williams' face here as a rookie. 9 games in, you don't want to just like, well, that sucked. Let's just start over from scratch and erase all the 9 weeks of, I guess, progression that we tried to get from you away and start over. We don't want to do all that, but we do need to set a standard here. And I don't think the standard was being met, in Chicago when it comes to offensive productivity. And whether that's your rookie quarterback, unable to see things throughout, whether that's effort on the wide receivers for running routes as hard as they possibly could or not, whether it's protection, and not getting that from your offensive line, you're in charge of the offense, Waldron, right? And so, yeah, I mean, that kind of comes with the position. It's a tough, savage world in the NFL, cutthroat business. Someone's always going to have to be to blame. And when that time comes, I guess you want to just try to have everything going right for you. And, yeah, I guess things are going as far opposite of right as possible for the Bears offensively. I mean, they've got one of the worst yards per game. I think third worst in yards per game, just over 270. They haven't scored a touchdown in, I think, 23 drives consecutively. And when we're talking about offense and you just the words that you're using to describe them are worst, second worst, third worst. Yeah, we got to make a change. So I'm not surprised by this. But Coach Eberflus did change his tone. I'm not upset with that because I think that part of being a coach and making sure that others are getting better. Thomas Brown is the OC. I'm sorry, I said Thomas Davis, Thomas Jones.
Thomas Brown.
Somebody get me some help.
It needs some milk.
When things are going wrong, you got to be able to like not care about how you're perceived per se, but you got to make the right decision for the team. And so I'm alluding a little bit to the Colts, right? Where do we go back to our Anthony Richardson after Joe Flacco was deemed the starter because he gives us the best chance to win? Now, does Shane Steichen go and tell his team, well, actually, I was wrong. Anthony Richardson gives us the best chance to win. You're playing with fire there because, hey, you said this, now you're saying that. What is it, coach? You sound like you don't know what you're talking about. However, on the flip side of it, it's like, well, coach, you did say that, and that's fucking wrong. I mean, we can act like we don't see it and just act like we're wrong, or we can, own up to that you were wrong and address it and try to be better going forward. That's where I'm at with the coach situation. But I am glad for Caleb Williams' sake that they're going to try to figure something else out. I never, in my opinion, thought Eberflus would be the coach that'll be, the reason, the success behind Caleb Williams. To me, I don't think having a defensive-minded head coach really helps your number one overall draft pick.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I mean, I don't know, man. Shane Waldron, we tried 30th in the NFL with 277.7 yards a game. What's your stance on this?
You remember since you made a movie reference. You remember National Treasure at the end where Nicolas Cage is trying to make the deal with the cop?
I'll be honest, and shout out to anybody in the listeners that have, me with the movies, bro. It's got to be I watch it and I tell you. I did not watch National Treasure, unfortunately.
All right, so for the listeners, anybody that watched National Treasure, there's a moment at the end where Nicolas Cage, he finally gets caught. He's trying to make the deal with the cop because he isn't really the bad guy. And the cop looks at him and he goes, somebody's got to go to jail. Like, it might not be you,
Yeah.
but somebody's got to go to jail, right? And that's pretty much, that sums up what's going on in Chicago right now. Now, everything that you just said, like the 24th in points per game, 24th in rushing yards per game, 30th in passing yards per game. You mentioned the 23 consecutive drives with no touchdown, and yeah, your offense isn't clicking. Something needs to be shaken up. You got to go. Like you were saying, somebody has to be held accountable at least right now in this particular moment, especially after the meltdown you just had against New England, right? But on the other end of that, I do agree with you that Eberflus wasn't going to be the person. I never thought he would be the person that's going to be a success behind Caleb Williams. But at that point, I don't think if you saw that, I'm sure that someone in that front office saw that, and they didn't sign him. They didn't extend him. They didn't fire him. They just let him be what they call in football a laying duck coach is what they call that in football, where you're on your last year and you don't really know what's going on, and you got this star quarterback. Yeah, hey, you know. And I think a lot of that has to be attributed as well to this regression that we're seeing from Caleb Williams. He's not playing well right now either. You're flat out, and there's three particular plays I want to bring up. Second quarter against the Patriots is the 3rd and 4th, like 10 minutes left. He throws a ball in the dirt to DJ Moore while DJ Moore is going on an out route. Unacceptable. 3rd and 14. Yeah. Missed a 5-yard check down to Rohan Johnson that, he's 5 yards away, bro. Like, make the pass. Like, if you can't make the difficult throws, if you can't make the easy throws, how do you expect to make, to win a game, to make the key throws, to make those throws down the field? Or 1st and 10 in the 3rd quarter where a bootleg pass, you airmail it to Kmet like 10 yards ahead of him. What are you doing? Like, what's going on in practice? I'm not really sure. There's a lot that's going on. The mechanics for Caleb Williams, we saw him hold on to the ball way too much, or for not way too much, but way too long at USC.
Way too much and way too long.
Yeah. And now he's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. I believe it's like 38 sacks. And stat for you, June, 27 of those 38 sacks have been when Caleb is holding the ball for 4 seconds or more. Unacceptable, bro. Your mechanics are...
For a quarterback to even hold the ball for 4 seconds that's
a lifetime in the end. That's like,
what are we doing? That's, and then the problem is if you hold the ball for 4 seconds, you got to be getting out of the pocket and throwing that ball away because nothing's there at this point. But to take those sacks, Dan Orlowski actually saying this brought up a great point or mentioned something that I've never thought of, but taking sacks on passes that could have been thrown away or not being able to get the ball thrown away and taking a sack is a difference between points and punts,
1,000%.
And so Caleb Williams, I'm glad you mentioned. I was going to say, this is who we saw at USC, right? And playing against Pac-12 defenses, we all know growing up, that was one of the easier things to do in college football. We heard a lot of the word generational. We heard a lot of Patrick Mahomes. We heard a lot of best quarterback. He is a Heisman Trophy winner, deservedly so. He had an amazing year 2 seasons ago at USC. But this is not college, right? And until he's able to understand that you got to get rid of the ball, you can't try to make the big play every play. You got to be content with taking the underneath, the boring plays, but pushing and getting a profit is what they call it. You have to take a profit over the big lump sum paycheck because you're putting your team at risk now of missing out on the playoffs.
Yep.
And being able to find any type of success. You're leaving the defense out there entirely too long. You're risking injury. And so it isn't a good look right now. And I don't think that they should bench Caleb. Obviously, if this continues, you got to look to Tyler Badgett. I mean, they have an undrafted free agent. And I'm a fan of Tyler Badgett. I'm not going to lie. Like, I watched the Hard Knocks. I got to see him get his little opportunity. And he can play. He can play in the preseason. He played really well.
He can make the reads, yep.
Yeah, and he can throw. He can throw. And so one thing we've known about Caleb Williams also is that he's a gunslinger and he also has a cannon for an arm. But he overshoots a lot of throws and he also just bad placement on some others. I do think that the game is very fast for him right now, and it's just part of another rookie quarterback's journey. We can't. We're not here blaming Caleb Williams like, oh, he's such a horrible quarterback. These are just all the issues that are going on right now and things that he's going to have to figure out how to clean up so that he can be the better franchise quarterback for the Bears.
Yeah.
At this point, the Bears season looks pretty heartless at this moment. You lose to the Patriots in that fashion, can't even put up a touchdown. You haven't put up a touchdown in over 20 drives. I mean, what are we doing? You know what I'm saying? Now, what the fuck are we doing? And this is after drafting a quarterback who, man, again, if this is a miss, and this is just big speculation, like if this is a miss here, it has to be some sort of curse on the Bears organization.
It would be two misses in a row. C.J. Stroud,
Yeah.
Caleb Williams,
and
or C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels. I'm sorry, C.J. Stroud, Jaden Daniels.
Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, 2017, where they draft Trubisky. So I don't know, man. We haven't seen a quarterback that can really play the position in Chicago ever, and we figured that since this is a Heisman quarterback, number one pick, they got to do whatever they could. Justin Fields didn't work out, or they didn't give him enough time to work out, really. They're finding themselves back at square one. And overreaction. I understand that because Caleb Williams, I'm not going to discredit or disrespect his talent. He is somebody who I think will be the difference maker in Chicago in the future. It's just that right now, I mean, the roster as currently constructed, they look nice on the outside. They drafted Dunze. They signed DJ Moore to that big-ass deal. And he's not paying off. And then Keenan Allen dealing with some injuries here and there. It looks cute, Cole Kmet, but that protection, I mean, you can't say all the way that he doesn't have time to throw the ball when he has 4 seconds with the ball in his hand. But I guess the plays that he does try to throw the ball away quick, it's just not complementing each other and he's getting hit. So the Bears got to go back to square one as far as what they want the identity of this team to be. Mm-hmm. Are we going to run the ball? Are we going to be a short game? Are we what is the identity of this team? Once they figure that out, they can then continue, I guess, the development. But I mean, they'll continue the development, but we won't really notice it until they, come with that identity. So,
and now I gotta imagine that this interim offensive coordinator isn't going to, is more than likely not going to be there next year. So now you have this number 1 draft pick that's going to have 3 offensive coordinators in 2 years. And I have to imagine at this point, 2 head coaches in that same time frame, because I don't see Eberflus there after this year at all. You know what I mean? All right. Enough about the past. Let's start talking about the future. We got week 11 of the NFL. Thursday night football. We have a gift from the football gods. The Washington Commanders travel to Lincoln Financial Field to play the Philadelphia Eagles for first place in the NFC East. If Washington ain't lose, I know you said we're not talking about the past, but they did lose that close game to Pittsburgh a couple days ago. This might be a little bit of a different conversation, but I digress and I bring it back to the present. Commanders, Jaden Daniels, Jalen Hurts, Thursday night football, first place in the NFC East on the line, June. Who do you got coming out victorious and why?
I'll say this, man. Jaden Daniels has a shot to really, really surprise a lot of people and just, I guess, remind America of what he is and what he can do. And try to stamp that I'm QB1. Like, I should have took me Chicago, that's how he feels. And I'm sure he's more than happy in Landover, Maryland. But I know that there was a feeling in him that wanted to be picked first overall. As a kid, everybody grows up dreaming that, coming off of a Heisman Trophy, number 1 overall pick. And the only thing that got in the way of that was the narrative that, we got the next Patrick Mahomes and generational talent in Caleb Williams, which remains to be seen, but who knows? I think that God blessed Jaden Daniels and landed him in the perfect spot and didn't put him in Chicago. And maybe he's looking at that as appreciative. But all in all, Philadelphia, I got Philadelphia winning at home, Thursday Night Football, short week. You know, when it's put up or shut up, when it's for first place in the division, when everybody's been talking about you guys and everybody's been raining on you guys, let's see it. Let's see it. And I think Philadelphia has done an amazing job over the last few weeks in being able to kind of play their brand of football. You know what I'm saying? Run that ball and get their big guys involved. Devontae Smith had a great game 2 weeks ago against the Jaguars. Then, Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley have a good game as the defense balls out against the Cowboys, excuse me. Not to say that that's the biggest task this season, but nonetheless, I think Philly's going to come out here with the win, and Saquon Barkley's going to have a lot to say about this one.
Philadelphia minus 3.5 points at home. I know, as we always say, 3 points at home is home field advantage. So Vegas is saying, hey, Philly is about a half point better than Washington at this point. Shout out to Ant in the comments saying Commanders by 2 scores. Wow. All right, bro.
No way. I mean, my thing is, like, it's funny. It's crazy. I got Sports Center on in the background. Dan Orlowski's going over offensive film for the Eagles during that Jags game. And this is just me off the top. Like, Washington is coming in here, and they're in a very good spot because they played a really good game against Pittsburgh and didn't have enough, right? That defense was able to shut them down at the end there. I think what Philadelphia has been doing offensively is going to give a lot of trouble to that defensive backfield. I understand they traded for Marshawn Lattimore, and he's going to be a good help for them. But right now, as it stands, the circumstance, it's Thursday Night Football. It's in Philadelphia, a divisional game. It's for first place. They've got both of their receivers healthy. It's going to be a tough task. And I don't think it's impossible for Jaden Daniels to go in there and steal a win. But 2 scores.
2 scores is a lot. I do like the plus 3.5. It goes through the key number of 3 in football.
Hey. No, sorry. Go ahead.
No, yeah, I do like the 3.5 for Washington, plus 3.5. Like I said, it goes through that key number of 3 that we always talk about in football. Divisional games are, it's a dogfight, especially with these 2 powerhouses as they are right now.
My thing is that the Commanders are in a really good spot right now because they can lose this game, not be in first place. But then they have to go and play the Cowboys, Titans, and the Saints. I mean, these are 3 of the worst teams in the league before playing the Eagles for that second and final time of the year, right? So you lose to the Eagles, say, Thursday. Then you go Cowboys, Titans, Saints. Then you got the Eagles again, and you could put yourself right back in that first place conversation where the Eagles, on the other hand, they're going to have to go Commanders, Rams, Ravens, Panthers, Steelers, then the Commanders. So it's going to be a little tough road after this game for the Eagles. Obviously, with the Panthers being one of the crutches there, but Ravens, Eagles, Ravens, Steelers, and even Rams on Sunday Night Football should be a tough game. So I think that Washington, win or lose here, they're going to have their shot on December 22nd, right there before Christmas, to put themselves right back in first place of this NFC East and possibly even win this division with a few weeks left.
Love it. Let's take it over to Detroit. The Jags will be in the Lions' den. You're probably wondering, why are we talking about an 0-5 Jags team traveling to a powerhouse in Detroit? It's because Detroit is 13-point favorites after coming off a near loss It was a near loss. They had to come back in that game, and they actually did something this past week. We keep going back to the past. They actually did something this past week that's only been done twice now. It was only done once before, but twice now. I believe it's teams that have thrown 5 interceptions and were trailing by more than 15 points in the game have gone now 2 and like 133, June.
Wow.
Like ridiculous, ridiculous. And then to be coming off of that and be 13-point favorites, I get it. The Jags I think they got the number 1 pick right now, if I'm not mistaken. Is that too many points, June?
No. I think Ant, if you're still watching, this is the game that we'll see the double-digit, win, 2-score win. The Jags are a struggling team, and we've seen, moments where they look good. And Trevor Lawrence, that's a conversation we'll have in other podcasts, because a conversation needs to be had. But the Lions, although they threw 5 interceptions, right, and couldn't figure it out for the life of them until they did, they are night and day ahead of Jacksonville, and they're clear-cut the number 1 team in the league. They do it on all 3 phases, led by Brian Branch in that defense, Jared Goff having an amazing completion percentage and throwing as accurate as possible. I understand 5 interceptions. I mean, there was a period where Jared Goff couldn't stop fumbling and throwing interceptions last season for like a 3 or 4 week stretch around this time of the year as well. It was around like Thanksgiving and just before or so. So Jared Goff is playing like the number 1 pick of the 2016 draft. And that's what we're seeing. So when he goes off and has a horrible stretch or a horrible game, we're not going to compute that into the analytics to say, you know what, Jacksonville could be tough, man. We saw him throw 5 picks last week. Those 5 interceptions have nothing to do with this Jacksonville Jaguars week matchup, in my opinion. And I think that the Lions, if anything, are going to be fueled by that win, in the sense that we are a much better team than that. And we can't put out another embarrassing performance like that. We have to win handedly. We have to take care of the football. We have to be, detailed in our execution. And that 5 interception win, which felt like a loss for most of the game for Detroit, should be a lot of fuel going into week 11, when they got to play one of the worst teams in the league. And this is a game you have to win if you're Detroit. Not because you don't have to win. You're 8-1. Like we get it, but you got to win this game because this is a team that you have to beat.
Yeah, you got to bounce back in a phenomenal way at this point. You have to win. I do think that those 13 points are a little much. And that's not a knock in the team that Detroit is. It's not a knock to the grit that they have or the matchup itself. I think it's more situational. I think coming off of that, going on E, having the tank on full and then having to bring it all the way down to E, to get that win against Houston in a tough game. I think that the Jags are one of those teams that got their back against the wall, and I always say never test a man that has their back against the wall, right? I don't think the Jags are going to win by any means necessary. I don't think that happens, but I could see the Jags losing by 10.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, winning by 14 points in the NFL is tough. And I think this year we haven't had a lot of blowouts this year. It's been a lot of competitive football, but again. And I get your point. I get that they used a lot. They drained the tank and exhausted a lot of energy. But Dan Campbell, he's ready to run through a wall with those guys after the game. So I think the Lions will be ready in Detroit, So there won't be any type of element. There wasn't any last week, but I think they'll be just fine.
There it is. There it is. Let's take it up to another 1:00 game that has powerhouse written all over it in Pittsburgh. Lamar Jackson and the Ravens are on their way to Pittsburgh to play Mike Tomlin and company.
Me, man, look, as a Colts fan, dealing with what we've been dealing with the last few fucking 5, 6 years. I got that purple jersey in my closet, and I be ready to put that on Sundays when Lamar, what I'm saying, Broward County native, showing up big time, two-time MVP. So I definitely root for those Ravens any chance I get when my Colts are out of contention, if you will.
Heard that. Heard that. The Pittsburgh Steelers did sweep the Ravens last year. Identical scores, 17-10. June, what does Baltimore have to do to steal this one on the road?
Couple things, man. Give the ball to Derrick Henry, And mind you, this is Pittsburgh's first divisional game all season. So wow. I know Brill has been telling me, like, yo, Drew, like, bro, you did the season preview and you had us at 7-8 wins, whatever, and 8-9 wins. And, we got 7 wins and we got 5, 6, 7 games left. I'm like, look, y'all haven't played one divisional game. And as much as the Browns have kind of deflated, the Bengals and the Ravens are still two of the top offenses in the league, with Joe Burrow and Chase doing what they're able to do week in and week out. Offensive threats, I'll say, and then Lamar Jackson. But I can still see that Browns-Steelers game a bit competitive. You know what I mean? So, yes, the Steelers are having an amazing season right now. Yes, we didn't expect them to win as much as they did with Fields and then go and bench him and continue to, win 3 straight games. But the divisional AFC North games are where, the players on those teams make their money for real. This is where Mike Tomlin, earns his respect. Yeah. Now, you asked me, how do I think the Ravens can win this game? I started by saying, give the ball to Derrick Henry. Give the ball to Derrick Henry. Last week, on Thursday, they shied away from Derrick Henry in the first half. He only had about 10 touches or so. And we saw they were down 21-7 at the half. They then, obviously, things went well for them. Tylan Wallace has a sideline touchdown, and Lamar Jackson makes some magic. But they started to feed Derrick Henry. And momentum got more on their side. So just remember who you are as an offense. The Steelers are going to stop you a few times. You're going to punt the ball. You might even turn the ball over. That's how good that defense is. Now, as long as we're not doing that at an excessive rate, and we're not getting too many tackles for loss or letting up too many tackles for loss and getting behind the sticks, I think the Ravens will be just fine. Just making sure that they remember who they are and establishing that run game.
Oh, I'm going to be tapped into this game, but yeah. It's 3 of the next 5 games for the Steelers are on the road. As you were saying, 6 out of their last final 8 games are all divisional games. And the only 2 other games that they have are against Kansas City and against Philadelphia. So these last 8 games, these last 8 games for Pittsburgh are really going to show what they're made of. They started off the season 0-2. They ramped it up. You know what I mean? They picked up 1 more loss. This is also
versus Indy.
Yeah, this is also for the first place position in the AFC North. So this is going to be very interesting. I think Pittsburgh is a team to keep your eye on. Not in a positive way, not in a negative way. I'm not going to forecast anything just yet, but keep your eye on what happens and how this team either unravels or pulls it, or pulls it together or more together anyway, because they're already pretty good right now. So it's definitely a team to keep your eye on.
Hey, last thing on the Pittsburgh Steelers game, they asked Mike Tomlin, Deontay Johnson, former Steelers wide receiver, gets traded to the Panthers, and then from the Panthers gets traded to the Ravens a couple weeks ago. And they asked Tomlin, receiver, and facing him and what they think he's going to have to do. He said, well, they don't got a lot of video on the guys, so I think they have much more, playmakers who are doing more.
Who are worthy of my attention is what he said.
More, thank you, bro, because I'm like, the exact quote was crazy. Who are more worthy of my attention. And all the shade was thrown with those words.
This is like the third mic drop that Tomlin has had this season for real.
Yeah, he's doing an amazing job, man.
What was it last? Oh, when you put Russ in. That's why I get paid the big bucks. All right.
Yeah.
That's why I get paid the big bucks. Oh, let's take it up to Denver real quick, man. Atlanta traveling over to Denver, coming off of that loss where Young Wei Koo missed 3 field goals. Blankenship is on the sideline saying, "Hey, don't even worry about it." After he was on the sideline at Inter Miami celebrating, Atlanta United's win, but I digress back to American football. Young Wei Koo misses those 3 field goals in the close loss this weekend where they lose by 3. Blankenship's telling him, "Hey, don't worry about it." Now Denver just lost on a blocked field goal, obviously, to Kansas City in Kansas City. Both teams coming off tough losses. Both teams in the playoff hunt. Atlanta absolutely in the playoff hunt. Denver, they could shine up a little bit, brighten up a little bit. What do you think about this matchup, and who do you think can come out victorious in this?
Well, I think for Atlanta, they're lucky that San Francisco was able to finally get that win, because Tampa Bay is over there clawing and fighting and trying, man. Whether we talk about them tonight or not, I'll just give you 2 seconds. But what Tampa Bay, it's crazy because they've lost 2 of their guys. They're fighting in every game. Baker Mayfield's got them in position, and then it just kind of bottoms out toward the end. Atlanta, though, man, it's going to be a good one. I think that Kirk Cousins needs to get back to just playing free, man, and staying protected. Well, we see Atlanta at their best when Kirk Cousins is just dialing it up. So if I'm the OC over there in Atlanta or head coach, I'm gonna make sure that we put the ball in Kirk Cousins' hand, or he's a quarterback, so obviously, but in the sense that you give him the opportunities to go out there and make the plays. You know what I mean? He's gonna be the guy that leads you to a victory this week. So I think Atlanta can come out of here with a dub and maintain first place in their division. As we know, it's a weaker division, but Tampa Bay is still a good team, and they still are going to be competing until week 18 for that.
Hey, real quick, something that was just brought to my attention. I want to take it back to the Ravens-Steelers game. Steelers 3-point dogs at home. Ravens 6 points better than the Steelers, June?
6? No, I think 6 is a stretch. I think they're a good 4 or 5, but 6 is a stretch. It's a lot.
Too close for comfort. Enjoy the game. Don't take it. Back to Atlanta and Denver. I think this is going to be a dogfight, man. I love the under 43.5 in this game. I do think that Kirk Cousins does walk into someone else's trap this weekend and takes over someone else's trap this weekend. Give me the Falcons, man. They're on. I think they're on the playoff run right now, and I think we'll see them in the playoffs. They'll probably host a playoff game.
To lose, you know what I mean? Like at this point, they just gotta win games here, and it would help the Colts, it would help the Jets, it would help the Dolphins if Denver takes this L here at 5-5. So I wouldn't mind Atlanta going and moving forward in that regard. Can you just tell me who Tampa Bay plays next week?
Yeah, absolutely, because they do have a bye this week. Tampa Bay,
okay.
Yeah, they have a bye this week. After the bye, they go to the Giants to MetLife.
Okay, so they should have that. All right. Tampa Bay. Yeah. Give me Tampa Bay's next 4.
Ooh, at MetLife, at Carolina, at home versus Las Vegas, and then in LA versus the Chargers.
Oh, LA. All right. Okay. I think that Chargers game will be tough, but Tampa Bay has a good opportunity out in front of them. So
Tampa Bay has already lost to the Falcons twice, so it's going to be.
Oh, they did play them twice. It was the overtime loss, and I don't remember the first one.
It was the overtime. No, that was week 5 and then week 8. There you go.
Okay.
Week 5.
I don't remember that week 8. Atlanta. That was in New Orleans. I mean, that was in
Tampa Bay. Yeah, 31-26 final score.
I don't remember that game. Okay. All right. Well, who's next?
31-26 final score. The line, before we move over, the line on that game is Denver -2.5 at the crib. Falcons are apparently half a point better than Denver. Give me the Falcons. Give me the under. ain't gonna be much riding going on in Denver. Pause. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let's take it to America's game of the week. Chiefs, Buffalo. What is this? Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York. Chiefs 9-0, Bills 8-2. Chiefs 4-0 on the road. Bills 4-0 at home. One of these teams will have a 1 in the column as far as home respectively for the Bills, away respectively for the Chiefs. Buffalo 2.5-point favorites at home. June, tell me what you like out of the game of the week.
Yeah, and this one's gonna be good too. 9-0 Chiefs.
By the way, sorry to cut you off. Josh Allen 3-1 versus Patrick Mahomes in the regular season.
Yeah, but in the last 4 weeks, he's thrown about 4 interceptions. He's only got 5. He started off the season 12-0, like 12 touchdowns, no interceptions. Last 4 weeks, he's got 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. So he's seeing it a bit differently. You know, defenses are mixing it up, and something is not clicking for Josh Allen right now. Do I think that that's going to seep into the playoff runs and all? No, I don't. They're still going to win their division. They're still going to handle business, and they can win this game. But I think with that defense and Spags back there creating a ton of pressures, and the familiarity now, you know, that they have with this Buffalo Bills team, I think that we're going to see the Chiefs move on to 10-0 behind the defense forcing turnovers and Mahomes just, you know, making plays. You guys get Pacheco back this week, is that right?
He is eligible to practice. I don't think he's coming back this week though.
Okay.
They just brought him back from the IR, but he's practicing.
Obviously, you guys don't need anybody. And shout out to Kareem Hunt. I mean, Kareem Hunt's been doing an amazing job filling in for him. So it's not too concerning to not have him, but it would be a big help. However, on the other side of things, you know, I think that Buffalo's defense is doing a great job. You know, they created 4 turnovers last week, whether it was against Joe Flacco or not. They were still able to find them ways to get the ball in Josh Allen's hands more times. And that's going to be crucial here. So let's look at the turnover battle for this game. But I want to focus on the Chiefs' defense and just having an amazing game plan ready for Josh Allen. Because, again, this is something we've spoken about where Josh Allen is playing like an MVP this year and doesn't even have, you know, half the weapons that other guys do have, or even that he had last year. But he's making it work and he's figured it out. I spoke to Kev, though, about this, man. If you look at their schedule, they ain't beat nobody for real. All their losses are against good teams.
Yep.
And all their wins are against, I mean, it's the schedule, but ain't nobody special on there. So this being one of those special games, they're going to have to prove me wrong. I don't see them. You know, I see a pattern right now with Josh Allen struggling a bit. I see the fact that they've played an easy schedule and bullied a bunch of teams. But when they played that, I talked to Kev. I said, bro, when they played the Ravens on Sunday night in week 4, they got their ass whooped, 35-10.
Talk that talk.
And so are they the Dolphins of 2024? Maybe. You know, I don't know. I think this week is going to tell a lot, though. This is their biggest competition in the AFC. And Josh Allen has a chance to just continue to cement at least what he's been doing this season. And this will be a huge win if he can beat Patrick Mahomes at home. However, whatever the fuck the Chiefs got going on, man, I'm not going to play with it. I'm not going to disrespect it. I'm not going to. Bro, I trolled. I was trying to troll y'all in the group chat on Sunday. And because, you know, EP, he'll stay quiet all game. And then when they win, he'll make a comment. And I'm like, all right, whatever. He tried to do it in the Yankees series. I'm like, nah. Save that shit for next game. Come out hot, or don't. I'm like, yo, let me get this message ready. They lining up for the kick. I'm like, yo, before EP come in here saying something about the game, Chiefs done lost, da. And I shit you not, bro. I'm going in the elevator, leaving the house, and I got the game on, like, as I'm typing the text, and I sent it, and I'm like, Ain't no fucking way, bro.
Ain't no way.
It was, I hear my uncle from inside the house.
He
Oh,
blocked
I'm
it.
like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like something in my stomach pause told me like, yo, them boys might. I don't know. It wasn't one of those like I feel this. It was just very subtle, like. But as we see, man, they playing with fire over there, and a lot of wooden sticks and cameras, if you will. I don't know. Shout out to Patrick Mahomes, man.
Yo, shout out to special teams, man. They, Dan Orlovsky, you were just talking about watching his playbacks. I mean, he broke it down. They were attacking the same spot all game, and they were seeing how close they could get. They were seeing how much they could get away with. And the moment came back around, and they're like, "This is the moment right here." Kareem Hunt on the sideline.
But
say,
I mean, as a
"We're about to
coach,
block this."
you got to be better than that. You know, if you're a coach for Denver special teams coach, got to get the message
1,000%.
across to the head coach. Hey, brother,
That guy's
we gotta get
falling.
somebody else over here because this is 3 straight plays and he's getting his ass whooped. And it looks like he's doing it on purpose at this point. So I think there was a deep conversation had to that gentleman, you know, in a situation.
Oh yeah, Sean Payton definitely. Yeah.
Like you know, the Commanders rookie lineman who lost the game for them jumping off sides, right? You can't lose games in situations that the game wasn't lost, you know? Like in Denver's situation, the game was won. And you literally lost the game for the team because you can't hold your own. Now, in the game, the Commanders, you know, they were down. It was 4th down. They were going to have to make a stop and then go down and score, either a field goal or a touchdown. But you limit yourselves and your team, and you know, you go out there and make a bonehead play, or you know, you're getting beat up in your one-on-one so bad that it literally causes a domino effect on the rest of the game. And that's when we got to have a conversation like, look, mistakes are cool, but game-losing mistakes are totally unacceptable, you know, especially now more so down the stretch as the season gets older. So it was a rookie in Washington, and I respect how his teammates handled it on the sideline. You know, it was a game that they wanted to win really bad. They could have left him alone. They could have let him sit and cry about it. And, you know, there's a couple guys over there just letting them know, like, look, it's all good. You know, we'll get it back. We'll get it back. We're still good enough to have won that game. And that's a teaching moment. But Denver, you know, you got the fucking champs on the road. You got the champs
on the ropes.
On the ropes. And this is like, I don't know, this felt like one of those matches where like Kurt Angle fucking hits the ref, or like, you know, cheats behind the ref's back and punches dude in the nuts, and then just like, I got him. And got him. Like, wait. What happened? What happened? It was stole. So I don't know. I'm just glad I'm in support of this Chiefs run and dynasty, because I hated the last dynasty in the NFL with the Patriots. You know, I couldn't stand it. There's a lot of people who hate the Chiefs right now, and if you're one of those people, this game on Sunday just had, I'm sure your blood was boiling. Like, he can't keep getting away with this. But I like it. It's pretty cool. You know, it's pretty cool to see.
Those meddling kids. Hey, I'm not gonna give you a pick on this one because, you know, I tend to stay far away. I did not learn my lesson, and I bet on one Chiefs game this year, and I bet against them in the first half because they're not a first half team. And then, hey, look, they were a first half team that game. I don't know. But I will say Patrick Mahomes has been an underdog in his career 14 times. He's 11-3 straight up, 12-1-1 against the number. Best in the Super Bowl era. Do what you want with that info. June, before we brush over the in-season tournament that kicks off today, because I don't think we should talk about it too much, but Sunday Night Football that we will go over more on Sunday evening show. But we got the Bengals. We got them traveling to SoFi Stadium to play the Chargers. Side note, I've been wondering what SoFi was for the longest, ever since they named the stadium SoFi Stadium. It's an online banking, online bank. I had no idea, didn't know, wasn't familiar with your
Yeah,
game.
man. It's,
It
it's
makes
rich,
sense as to
rich bull
yeah,
stuff.
it makes sense, the whole lake outside the stadium and the catwalk they have and all that. That's pretty cool. But anyways, Bengals Chargers in LA. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Joe Burrow is an underdog on the road. 1.5 favorites. The Chargers are. Who you like, real quick?
Real quick, I'm gonna go with the Bengals. Just thinking of what they did to the Ravens defense and how Jamar Chase, what he said in that post game was, "Man, I never in my life imagined having a stat line like this and playing the way I did, and we lose."
Hey, very reminiscent to Ocho Cinco saying, "Hey man, I eat McDonald's and play good. Like I don't really focus on eating healthy, bro." Like I was like, "All right, bro, you got it."
And you can take that two ways. Like, pause. I think you can take what he said in the sense of, well, shit, you did all that and you still lost. What makes me think you're gonna win this one? Or you can take it like, Jamar Chase is hungry. He want to do it again, right? And he's gonna be active and ready. Hopefully they get T Higgins back for Sunday night as well. So just my initial thoughts. And today's Tuesday. Things might change. I might feel different on Sunday.
There you go. Like I just mentioned, man, we're gonna kick it over to the NBA. In-season tournament begins today. You got your Miami Heat on the road at Little Caesars Arena playing the Pistons, looking to stay above 500 on the road. Miami is. June, how do they pull it off tonight?
Yeah, I think just continued ball movement. Tyler Hero has been the brightest spot for us this season. Hopefully Terry Rozier can find it, man. I don't know what's going on in that regard, but yeah, I think just like I said, constant movement of the ball, play some good defense, and run. We're gonna have to run with this team. It's a young team. Kate Cunningham and them boys, they've been playing pretty good, nothing crazy. I think the last time we played them was that Bam Adebayo game winner. It was on a Sunday last year. But yeah, we're here. Oh, no, well, we played them this season. We played them on the D Wade statue game. So we've had some experience with them this year. Jimmy Butler is going to be out again. This will be a second straight missed game with the rolled sprained ankle injury he suffered in the first quarter against Minnesota. Yeah, man. I think the Heat. We shouldn't be talking about how can the Heat beat the Pistons. That's my opinion. Like the Heat should fucking beat the Pistons regardless. So obviously, any given Sunday, any given day, it's the NBA. But we're just a better team. We're gonna have to show that.
Yeah, Heat 1.5 favorites on the road. Heat money line all the way. It's always and will always be the Heat in a situation like this. You got the Knicks on the road in Philadelphia at the Wells Fargo Center. Joel Embiid will not play tonight. Knicks 3.5-point favorites on the road.
What you mean?
Hey, ESPN saying Joel Embiid is out. Am I wrong?
Wait. Yeah. Double check that. I don't know if that was break. Okay, so Joel Embiid should be making his debut tonight. That's why I'm just confused.
Joel Embiid should be making he's active. We have him listed as active.
Making his debut tonight after serving his 3-game suspension for almost beating up that reporter out there in Philly.
Hey, as you should, low key. I never endorse any violence. Yo, keep the peace. But you're not gonna speak on no one anyway. Joel Embiid back tonight at home against the Knicks as a dog at the crib, 3.5-point dog. Who you got in this game, June?
I got the Knicks in this game. I think they're gonna be a hungry team tonight. They lost against the Pacers, man. And I know that rubs those guys the wrong way. I know that Knicks locker room does not like the Indiana Pacers. And, the way they lost in 7 games last year, getting mollywopped in 2 of those games, coming out and losing to them on the road yesterday. They're on the road in Philly here. They hate Joel Embiid. Karl Anthony Towns hates Joel Embiid. Like, there's just a lot of hate in the Knicks' heart right now. And I don't think that that's something to play with right now. I'm not saying, like, they're scary, but I do believe that the Knicks are going to come out with this different type of intensity, knowing that Karl Anthony Towns hates this guy, knowing that we already hate this guy as Knicks, and knowing that we just came off of a loss last night. So Yeah, let's go try to get that dub if you're the Knicks. Paul George comes back, right? Tyrese Maxey goes down. Joel Embiid is back. Now no Tyrese Maxey. They can't get the big three for Philly. We're not going to see that probably for another month and a half till after Tyrese Maxey comes back from that hamstring injury. They're going to have to figure this out, Philly, because they're 2-7 right now. No team
Yeah.
2-7 has ever been to the finals.
Yeah.
Now we have to evaluate as it's appropriate with saying they've been missing their best player, and then their second best player goes down, or arguably their second best player goes down. They've all missed time this year from the big three, and that was a big thing this summer. We were talking about, yeah, you're joining forces, but it's Paul George and Joel Embiid. I mean, you guys get hurt so much. It's like Bradley Beal and KD on the Suns, Hopefully things can clear up for them and they can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But right now, as it stands, and if they lose tonight, we're going to 2-8. Man, we're gonna have to see. We're gonna have to see what they can do to get out of that hole. And if it pertains to just being healthy, they're in a lot of trouble.
Whew. The Dallas Mavericks are traveling to Golden State. I will be tapped into this game, as well as the Duke game that we'll get to in 1 second in the last segment of the show. But Klay Thompson's returned to Golden State this evening. Dallas 5-5 at 500, 1-2 on the road. Golden State 8-2 on the season, 2-1 at home. This game is going to be fun. It's going to be electric. It's going to be exciting. If I'm not mistaken, Kyrie Irving, fresh off a 43-point delivery. This is going to be exciting. I'm excited to watch this game, June. Who you got in this one? Yeah, can Klay Thompson, avenge the return? Is this a Klay Thompson revenge night, or is this just going to be...
Those revenge nights are always tough, man. It's a lot of emotions going around. I hope that Klay plays well. I hope he plays well, and I want him to be a focal part on this game from Dallas's perspective. But I think the Warriors sitting at 8-2, man, they're doing a great job this season, playing amazing defense. And we're seeing the ups and downs of Luka and Kyrie, struggling throughout the season so far. Klay Thompson's going to come out here and hit a couple shots, no doubt. And he's going to have that hate in his heart tonight. I think he's going to have a lot of that. After all the love is shown, he's going to go back to, it was fuck me during the offseason, right? All right, say less. It's fuck y'all. And I can get behind that pause, but if we're talking about playing, brothers playing against each other, that little competitive spirit that I want to win, you want to win, I'm taking Steph and Draymond's hate and skill over Klay's, and I think that's just fair. So I like the Warriors tonight to come out smoking hot. I'm not going to lie. I think there's an extra motivation on both ends of this thing here. They said that pregame they're going to do a minute video mantra, tribute for Klay Thompson. They're going to also pass out sailors' hats for the crowd so everybody can tip their hat to the captain once that's done. And then Steph Curry is going to come onto the court and say a couple words about his brother before the game goes. And after that, it's showtime. But after that, Steph reminiscing and laughing, I think we're going to see Babyface Assassin come out tonight. Put up like, look, bro, I'm still the splash bro.
Look, bro, yeah. Hey, Golden State 2.5-point favorites at home. The NBA is not like the NFL. No home team gets any points. All that shit don't matter. With that being said, a 5-5 team on the road against an 8-2 team at home, and only 2.5-point favorites. Give me the Mavericks on the money line. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Klay,
Luka Doncic, man.
Yeah, Klay revenge night will go well. They'll be tipping hats. They might throw the hats back on the court after tonight, in my opinion. All right, I got Dallas, man. I'm going to be tapped into this game.
I like that.
In other news, the Raptors and the Bucks tonight is very interesting to me because Milwaukee's a 9.5-point favorite at home when they're 1-3 at home, 2-8 on the season. I have no 9.5, 3.5 whole possessions. Could be 4 possessions if you're counting just 2 points. So I was going to ask you the question, but you answered it for me. That's too many points, right, Jude?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything from this Bucks team this season that would make me spend or put or risk a single dollar on them. Uh, and I'm not even trying to be funny. It's funny because it's like it's laughable at this point, and it's like who do we blame? But 9.5. I feel like RJ Barrett's having an amazing start to this year. Emmanuel quickly just came back on Saturday and did some damage in the Clippers game where they lost by 2 points. I don't know. You might have to go smack that Raptors. You know what I'm saying? Raptors money line or Raptors cover something because those Bucks, man. I don't think that they're that. I don't even know that they can beat the Raptors by 10 points. I don't.
Wow. 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 Sheesh. All right. All right. Hey, man, we got Duke in Atlanta tonight at State Farm to play the Kentucky Wildcats. The last time that Duke was in Atlanta last season, they lost to Georgia Tech after losing to Arkansas. I had just moved up
Yeah, I
here.
remember that.
Yeah, I had just moved up here. It was heartbreaking. I didn't understand anything about what was going on with Duke at the time. As we wrap up conference or non-conference play, actually, not conference play, non-conference play in a couple of weeks. Like I said, Champions Classic, Duke, Kentucky, 19 versus 6 being Duke. I'm not sure what the line is. I can pull it up right now. The line is Duke -5.5. I'm excited to see Cooper Flag against,
Yeah.
some good
It's real tough.
competition this evening. What are you excited to see about this matchup, June?
Yeah, I just in general, I want to see what this Duke team is going to present itself as this season. You know, we know what they have as far as personnel. We know who they have as their coach. I want to see them playing some good competition, and I want to see how they're going to attack teams this year, especially with Cooper Flag being the new, huncho over there. So just kind of interested to see the flow of the game and how it's coached as well.
Yeah. After this, we get Wolford at home, which it's we they got a little check to Cameron, and then we go to Arizona, and then we get Kansas at home. It's going to be a tough stretch. We get Seattle, and then number 5 Auburn at home. So this non-conference play for us before we started against Louisville is going to be very interesting. We're
I
really going
think
to
this
see
is
what we're
going to
made
be
of.
very good for Cooper Flag. Like he's seeing some of
Yeah.
the best teams and defenses in the country, before he has to start playing his conference basketball. So shout out to Cooper Flag. Shout out to Coach Shire and them boys, man. We got 2 other coaches, two Hall of Fame legendary coaches right now coaching against each other. And we can't take these moments for granted, EP, man. We grew up watching college basketball. I grew up watching college basketball.
Absolutely.
Not sure
Nah, for
exactly
sure.
when everybody else did. But I mean, I'm watching Bill Self and Tom Izzo. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know how many more years we're gonna see out of a guy like Tom Izzo. And you would hope it's another 5, or so. But he's getting old, and but he's still doing his thing over there. Michigan State and Kansas, they got a 2-point lead on the #1 team in the country. So we're getting to see a preview of what we're Duke fans are going to experience
Yeah.
in about a week and a half to 2 weeks when we play Kansas.
Rick Pitino Calipari days, man. I'm reminiscing right now, man. Yo,
Yeah.
those early college basketball days for us was prime college basketball, bro. Prime college basketball. Hey, man, do you have anything else you want to go over before we get up out of here?
May the college football playoff committee be nice, and keep the Hurricanes in consideration. It was a tough, nasty loss to Georgia Tech, which, I get it. But we're talking about a 3-loss SEC team in the playoff, and, UM got to win their football games at this point, and hope the committee can just side with us a little bit. Just
Big facts, big facts, big facts. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, as we cross over this hour 9 mark, this has been your Tuesday night, very special night, Tuesday night, All Things Sports Talk Show on the All Things Sports Network, brought to you by Small Town Productions, ticker up top, brought to you by ESPN Bet. If you tapped in on the live, Ant, shout out to you. Anyone else? My boy Danny hit me up, which is why I talked about the Chargers. He's a Chargers fan. He said he was watching it in the gym. So shout out to you, Danny. Appreciate you. If you tapped in after the fact, thank you so much for taking time out of your day. We will see you all Sunday evening. Peace.